Let me just mosey on over to my couch over here and we can get started. Hi, welcome back to Bjorn Does Movies. This is episode 2 of my Deadlands series. I've actually written the first episode's script, so we're going to be going over that here. And I'll be giving out the dialogue and whatnot. And so yeah, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. If you have any feedback on how the format could be improved or any issues you have with my story. God, that dog. Let me know and I'll implement them in the future. My first piece of feedback is no more dog jumping into the video in the middle of it. It was cute the first time, but now it's irritating. And I have to edit all of the times he comes in out. Like we're probably gonna end up making a whole blooper reel of my dog interrupting this thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the script. And I'll be showing it on screen, so if you want to read along at home, because I might paraphrase some dialogue, go right ahead. You can just pause the video and take a gander. We're still using them old western speak. I am calling episode 1 The Gambler, and it's going to start with some narration over the desert. We'll see like the sun hanging high, classic western imagery, and we'll hear the narrator say, "The West ain't what it used to be. Some say it was the blood spilled by war, or magic from the Indians' old gods. Maybe it was an evil that was always there, awakened at last. Whatever caused it, the folk who live in the fringes between the cities that make up the Deadlands know the truth. The weird has infected the West, and it'll never be the same again." We're going to open on John Weber, the character I mentioned in my introduction. He's a young boy here, maybe 11 or 12, and we'll see that he has tears rolling down his face. He stares at his mother, who's inside their modest home. Her name is Cassandra Weber, and she's like 39. She's beautiful with blonde hair, blue eyes, classic, American Southern belle. She wears a floral dress, and we can see fear and panic in her eyes. We hear little John say, "I don't want you to go, Mama." His mother's gonna say, "It's going to be fine, John. We just have to sort this out. Stay in the house and stay quiet. Be my little brave man." She's gonna ruffle his hair, then leave the house. John creeps to the wall where there's a crack in the wood. He peers through. We can see his mother and his father, who I'm named Richard here, standing together. And then we'll see the gambler. He's a young man, maybe 25, and he stands 20 feet from them. He's a debt enforcer. He's wearing a nice suit and has revolvers at his waist. We can see them because he's pulled back his suit. He plays with a deck of cards in his hand. Cassandra's gonna say, "We just need more time. We're honest folk. We'll pay you back." The gambler's gonna say, "You said that 4 months ago. The time for waiting is over. My boss has sent me to collect, one way or another. So can you pay?" Richard's gonna say, "We just need more time. Please have mercy." "More time," the gambler says. "You keep saying that. And what's going to change this time? Where is this money going to come from that it hasn't in 4 months? I'll tell you what. Where's that boy of yours?" We're gonna hear John let out a small gasp as he watches through the wood. His father's gonna reach for the gun at his waist. He's too slow. The gambler draws a card, and we see it's the King of Hearts. The boy's father is surrounded by green light, and when it vanishes, the man is little more than a shriveled corpse. We cut to the boy inside the house. He's starting to cry even more now. He stands up and looks at the rifle mounted on the wall. We see him carefully pull it off the shelf. As he does, we hear a gunshot from outside. We cut to the gambler. He stands over the 2 bodies of John's parents and puts away his card. He says, "Luck didn't favor you today, for only the dead to hear." The camera pans and we see the boy standing behind him, holding a rifle towards him. The gambler stops when he notices and turns around. "Whoa, boy, put that down before you hurt somebody." John holds strong, though. We can see the gun is shaking. "You hurt my mama," he says. The gambler nods his head. "That I did, and I'll hurt you too if you don't put that down." We see that he's drawing a card at his side. Just before we can see what the face is, we cut to the boy. His face grows hard, and he fires the rifle. The gambler falls to the floor with a gunshot wound to the heart. We zoom in on the kid's face as tears start to fall. He lets the gun fall to his side, then runs to his mother. She's already dead. He wails and hugs her dead body. After a moment, he leaves her and carefully examines the dead gambler. He finds the card drawn into the man's hand. It's a joker, which is now sprayed with blood. As he looks through the man's pockets, he finds a little book titled Hoyle's Book of Games. We're going to cut to the busy streets of Old Chicago. We see loads of people moving through the busy streets. We see Christine Moon, 27, this is the other main character I mentioned in my intro, work her way through the crowd. She wears a red dress that highlights her dark black hair. Her green eyes are drawn to a newspaper cart. We see that they have copies of the Tombstone Epitaph. The headline reads, "Dark Magic or God? The Truth Behind the Lost Angels." She grows excited and quickly buys the paper. We see her read it as a smile grows across her face. We're going to cut to the inside of a sparse apartment. This is a new character. I would have put him in my intro, but I hadn't quite finished developing what I wanted him to be. He went through several iterations. The one I landed on is a Japanese immigrant and quasi-father figure to Christine. He is from Japan, and he immigrated to California and came into the service of Christine's noble parents. We're going to see him sitting inside of the apartment. He's an older man, 44, and he's scarred from war. We can see him cleaning a katana as he sits in a wooden chair. We can also see that he's well muscled and is clearly fought. He polishes the blade until it shines, and we can see his reflection. He feels the kanji that are inscribed at the base of the blade with his fingers. I'll say that the symbols translate to bravery and honor. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and we see Christine Moon holding a newspaper in hand.
"What is it?" Hitoshi asks. "The Tombstone Epitaph," Christine replies. "They published a story about the Lost Angels. They say they used a stone in their rituals. It's the Heart of Darkness. It has to be." Hitoshi smiles. "We were right. He must have used the stone to feed his people. It explains a lot." Christine says, "We have to go to Tombstone and speak to the author. If we're right about this, and the Lost Angels do have the Heart of Darkness, then we have to go to the City of Lost Angels and reclaim my family's heirloom."
Hitoshi says, "You and me, we can't do this thing alone. The stories they tell of the guardian angels. Magic is something a blade can't cut, and a bullet cannot pierce. Only magic can deal with magic." He looks at her knowingly. "No, not him. I can't do that," Christine says. "Then you can't reclaim your birthright. Men like Grimm are not the sort you fight lightly. That gambler, as unreputable as he is, has skills we would need for this." Christine shakes her head. "I broke his heart, Hitoshi. I wouldn't even be able to look at him. We'll find someone else." Hitoshi says, "Even if there was someone else, who would do it? It's near suicide, Christine." He turns to her and says, "We need some kind of suicide squad." I'm fucking kidding, he doesn't say that. He actually says it's near suicide, Christine, and Christine replies, "And you think he will?" Hitoshi's gonna say, "He's in love with you. Love makes men do strange things." Christine's gonna say, "And if he says no?" Hitoshi says, "Then we'll figure it out. For all his faults, he never left you in danger. Why would he change now? Do you even know where he is?" Christine says, "Oh, Christ. I have a few ideas. Last I heard, he was fighting in Kansas, the fool. I don't even know if he's still alive." We're going to cut to a Kansas battlefield, and it's time for a new segment in this show. Welcome to History Lessons with Bjorn. I'm here to talk to you about the Civil War. I know you tuned into this video for a dumb cowboy movie, but we're going to briefly teach you about the Civil War. During the latter half of the Civil War, trench warfare developed in response to the artillery fire and the rapid-fire machine guns that had been developed at the time, called the Gatling gun. The trenches allowed them to hide from these new weapons, and trenches briefly popped up near the very end of the war. But the Confederacy was already losing, so the trenches didn't stick around long. For those who were really paying attention to history at the time, though, it was a great precursor to what would become World War I. Horrible, horrible trench warfare. So I propose that in the universe of Deadlands, where the Civil War kept going for many, many years after it was supposed to have ended, trench warfare would become the norm. All of this factors in because what we're going to be seeing is a trench warfare, and I wanted to briefly explain why I made the decision to include trench warfare inside of a Civil War. That's all. That's the end of the history lesson. All right, y'all. This is going to be on the test tomorrow, so don't forget to study. So we're going to cut to a Kansas battlefield. We'll see men with rifles killing each other around trenches, like firing across no man's land. But we can see that there's clearly a push from the Confederacy into Union territory. They're making a run for the trenches, as happened. We're going to pan through the chaos until we find John Weber. He's now an adult. We'll say like 26 or 25. He's currently with two allies in the trench. We'll see Nicholas is a young soldier fighting for the Union. He's got a slim build and wears glasses. And Harry, who is barely old enough to be fighting in the war. He's like 19. He has a baby face, and most would call him handsome. John holds a revolver in his hand. An enemy soldier quickly bails over the top of the trench, and John quickly turns and shoots him in the chest. Blood sprays against the walls of the trench. John's going to say, "This is a goddamn mess. The trench is going to get overwhelmed. We got to get the hell out of here." An artillery shot is going to hit the trench just down from them, causing an explosion. We'll see that it kills people. Nicholas is going to say, "And how do you propose we do that?" Harry's going to say, "We could make a run for it." And Nicholas is going to say, "That'd be suicide. You saw the Gatling gun on the ridge. It would pick us apart." John's going to say, "I have an idea. When I say so, run for the tree line. It won't be long, so run fast." And Harry's going to say, "We'll do it. Are you going to draw the cards?" John's going to say, "That's the idea." We'll see him pull out a deck of cards. He's going to draw one. We'll see that it's an ace of hearts. John is going to let out a triumphant laugh as we see the card begin to grow green. John's going to yell, "Now!" They bail over the trench just as a fireball erupts from the card and hits the man on the Gatling gun. We'll say it like roasts him alive and kills him. We'll follow the 3 men as they desperately try to run to the forest. As they get close, we see someone else manning the Gatling gun. He begins to crank it and bullets start spraying around our heroes. The young Harry gets hit and falls to the ground. He starts to scream. We see that the Gatling gun has to reload. John runs and grabs Harry, just barely managing to drag him into the tree line before the gunfire picks back up. He carries Harry a bit further. Once they're safely past the gun line, they stop. Nicholas looks over the injuries and says, "It's bad." He leans in close to whisper in John's ear. He says, "He's not going to survive it." John's going to say, "No, he'll live." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a card again. He draws one, and we see it's a Joker. It's got blood splatter from the opening scene, letting the audience who's watching at home and doesn't have access to the script sort of know that this is the same character as the little boy. John's going to say, "Oh." Blood's going to begin to run from his nose and eyes, and he falls over, and the screen goes black. We're going to cut to a Chicago train station. We'll see Hitoshi there. He'll say, "Are you sure you don't want me to come with you? Kansas is a dangerous place these days." Christine's going to flash him a quick smile. "I'm a dangerous woman. John was never too fond of you. I think this will go over better if it's just me." Hitoshi says, 3 weeks. If you're not in Tombstone, I'll come looking." Christine will say, "I'll be fine. I'll meet you there." She gets on the train. We see her take a seat and pull out a sewn family crest, like a little yarn thing. It'll depict a full moon with a purple gem at its center. She turns it over in her hand and holds it close to her chest. We're going to cut to a hospital. The camera will pan past tons of injured soldiers laying on beds. Some moan and others cry. We'll see John laying on a hospital bed at last. He opens his eyes and turns to see a nurse standing next to another patient. Through cracked lips, he whispers, "Water." The nurse is going to go, "Oh my God, you're awake." She's going to grab him water and we'll see him drink it. She's going to say, "I'll go fetch the doctor. He'll want to talk to you." We'll cut to the doctor examining John. He steps away and removes his leather gloves. The doctor says, "Well, for being asleep for nearly a month, you're doing good. No muscle atrophy, no loss of weight. Honestly, I don't know what to make of you." John's going to say shakily, "Some things go beyond explanation. Call it supernatural, Doc." The doctor's going to say, "We try to avoid answers like that, but every once in a while you get an act from God. You have a friend waiting for you. Do you feel up to it?" John's going to say that you can send him in. We'll see Nicholas enter the room. The first thing John's going to ask is, "Harry?" Nicholas will say, "Dead. Didn't last 5 minutes." John's going to shake his head and say, "I feared as much. Damn my luck, he was just a boy." Nicholas will say, "They buried him with honor." "What happened? You just dropped like a dead man." John will say that he drew a Joker for the second time. Once more and he'll finally go to hell. Then he'll ask where he is. Nicholas is going to say, "You've been asleep for damn near a month. No one can make heads or tails of it. 2 days ago we moved you to the city. War's over. They've signed a ceasefire. They say this one's going to last, so we can go home." John's going to say that he doesn't have a home. Nicholas is going to say that he can change that. He'll say that he knows a friend who has an apartment. "I'll make sure he gives it to you cheap." John thanks him and says that he owes him. Nicholas replies that he actually owes John his life because John saved him with those magic cards of his, that he won't soon forget it. And he helps John to leave the hospital. We're going to cut to John getting a new apartment. I'm going to breeze over this script because basically it's uneventful. John just thanks Nicholas for getting his new apartment. You guys can pause and read this dialogue if you really, really care about it. John briefly says that he doesn't know what to do without the fight, because he's been distracting himself with it. And Nicholas just says that he needs to live his life and try to be happy. The most notable thing that happens in this is that when he's left alone in the room, he pulls out the Joker and studies the blood splatter on it. We're going to cut to his eyes and see the Joker reflected there before we cut away to the Kansas train station. We'll see Christine exit the train. People shuffle around her as she makes her way to an information broker. Sometimes at these old train stations, they used to have a guy whose job is literally to help you find a place to stay or to do like other various things. Like you might know people you're looking for, and he would literally just sit at the train station and help you. I'm calling him an information broker. I don't know what they were actually called, but it's a real thing. Christine's going to ask him if he knows where to find a man by the name of John Weber. Say that he fought in the war and that she was told he was here. The information broker will say, "If your man's Union, you'll find him at Charlie's. If not, you'll find someone who knows where he is." All the military types go to that place. We're going to cut to Charlie's bar. We'll see John at a table with Nicholas. He's growing a small beard. This will show us that time has passed since the last scene. I'd say about a month or two since the last
time we saw John in the apartment. Sorry for all the time skips, folks. It's gonna sort of iron out here. John's gonna tell Nicholas that he should go for it. She's a lovely woman. Nicholas will say, "I'll be leaving, John." That is if she says yes. John jokes and says, "She'll say yes." They have some fun, witty dialogue here. And then Nicholas asks him if he has someone special, and that he worries about John being all alone in the city. John says, "Maybe once. I think women are about the furthest thing from my mind. I'll be fine, Nick. I've been alone before." Nicholas is going to say, "You need somebody, John. The lonely sort doesn't last long in this world. I know it for a fact." John's going to say that he's always liked solitude. Quiet is good for a man. Christine's going to enter the bar, and John is going to notice her almost immediately. He's going to make a pained face. Nick is going to notice. He'll say, "Who's she?" John's going to say, "Trouble." Christine spots John and makes her way to the table. She takes his seat. She says, "John, it's good to see you." John's going to ask her what she wants. Christine's going to say, "I want you to come with me to Tombstone." John's going to turn to face Nick and say, "Leave us, Nick." And Nicholas is going to say, "All right, I'll head out for the night. It was nice to meet you, ma'am." John, he leaves the bar. John's going to say, "Tombstone, huh? Christine, you must think I'm a fool." She's going to grow flustered and say, "I'm not going to California. The newspaper in Tombstone, the Tombstone epitaph, they published a story about the truth of the lost angels. They wrote that they used some kind of supernatural ritual to perform miracles. The best part is they say they use a magic gem to do it. I just want to talk to the man who wrote it." John's going to say, "I know the paper. Last week they wrote about killer tumbleweeds roaming the desert. It's sensationalist bullshit." Christine's going to say, "You can't know that for sure. What if it's true?" John's going to say, "Let's say he tells you what you think he's going to tell you. What then? You turn around and come home? You're obsessed with that damn rock. Let it go, Christine, before it gets you killed." Christine sort of laughs and says, "That's rich from you. I heard stories of you drawing magic cards all the way in Chicago. You're out here fighting in Kansas, drawing cards like there's no risk. For what? Are you trying to die? You already drew one, Joker." John's going to cut her off and say, "2. I drew another 2 months back." She's going to say, "God, John, 2? You'll die if you draw another." And he'll say, "And you care if I die?" At this point, they're just having a full-on argument. Christine will say, "Of course I care." And John will say, "Well, you have a funny way of showing it. You left me, Christine. Now you come back and tell me you want me to go with you to Tombstone? I see the truth of it. You want a bodyguard to get you to the maze. You want my cards to keep you in check. Don't lie to me." Christine's going to say, "I shouldn't have left you the way I did. It was wrong." John's going to say, "Yeah, no shit. Too little, too late. If you must know, I'm not drawing cards anymore, so I'm no use to you anyway. Find another bodyguard." Christine starts to say, "John, and he cuts her off. "Save it. I'm not interested. If you still care for me even a bit, listen here. You know better than most what sort of place the maze is. You could say you're only going to Tombstone, but you and I both know the truth. If you try to enter the city of the Lost Angels, you'll die for that gem." Christine says, "So be it. It was good to see you, John. Be careful. I don't want to hear you died. If you change your mind, I'll be in town for a few days. I'm staying at the Thirsty Horse Inn." She stands up and leaves the bar. And we see John pull out a necklace. He's got a glass vial, and at its center is a silver bullet. He sort of fingers it. He takes a shot of whiskey and says, "Damn it all." And then he stands up. We're going to cut to Nicholas's apartment. We'll see him opening it up with a key and walking inside. As he shuts the door, we see a man standing there. Nick walks into the apartment unaware of their presence. As he does, we pan around and see 2 guardian angels standing behind them. They wear red robes and large brimmed hats, which are also red. They also wear red tinted glasses. They have a bit of a red thing going on. First, the guardian angel is going to ask, "Nicholas Goldman, you led the 32nd Union Infantry. You are that Nicholas Goldman, are you not?" Nick is going to jump out of his skin and turn. When he sees them, he becomes paralyzed with fear. He's going to say, "I am. Who are you, and how did you get into my apartment?" The guardian angel is going to say, "We are men of God. We've seen his hand work wonders on the earth. You see, God has sent us here today. His will has led us to you, so that you can help us find a devil worshipper, a man who gambles his soul with a deck of cards." Nick is going to say, "I don't know anything about that." And the guardian angel is going to retort with, "We've heard otherwise. Stories spread, and what I've heard is that your soldiers don't die like the others do. I've heard other things too. Darker things." Nick is going to say, "We've got God on our side. He tends us well." The guardian angel is going to let out a faint chuckle. "That's funny because God whispers in my ear, and he tells me that you lie. We will have the answer out of you one way or another. The second angel is going to rush forward and grab Nick, holding him down. The first is going to pull a jar from his bag. It's filled with muddy water. Inside, we can see something stirring. Have you heard of a tummy twister? The first angel asks. It's a silly name for a nasty creature. It's a foul new thing that's come with all the rest. A creature of the devil, if ever there was. It lives in stagnant pond water and waits for an unassuming man to drink it. Once inside a man's stomach, it rips through him and attaches itself to his spine. Needless to say, you wouldn't like the rest. These are straight out of the game. I love their name. It's silly. But the monster itself is really not silly. If curiosity gets the better of you, look up what these things actually do to people. It's super gnarly, and I really like it. Carefully opens the lid, and using a pair of tongs, fishes out the tummy twister. It's a nasty flailing creature that looks like a hybrid of a bug and an octopus. Hair-like spines run up and down its tentacles. I kind of imagine this thing looking like a more menacing version of a brittle star. It's a type of starfish. If you've never seen one that looks like this, just to give you something to picture. The Lost Angel's going to say, I'll ask you once more. A man with cards that uses dark magic. Do you know where we can find him? Nick is going to hold strong. The guardian angel smirks. He lowers the creature until its tentacles begin to caress Nick's lips. Nick cracks. It's not me. Please, dear God, it's John. John Weber. He's the one. The guardian angel is going to ask, where is he? And Nick is going to say, a woman came for him. She wanted to take him to Tombstone. The guardian angel is going to say, Tombstone. That is a godless place. Where does this gambler live? Nick is going to give his address. Guardian Angel is going to say, thank you for your honesty. He's going to put the tummy twister back in the jar and screw the lid on. He puts it back in his bag and comes out with a knife. Nicholas is going to begin to panic again. I gave him up. Just leave. The Guardian Angel is going to say, you sat by and let a devil worshipper do his craft. You have sinned and God has judged you guilty. Nicholas is going to yell, no! The Guardian Angel is going to hit Nick and he's going to pass out. The second Guardian Angel will say, I'll handle him, then watch the train station. You take the house. The first Guardian Angel is going to reply, as you say, for the shepherd, to which the second will say, for the flock. We're going to cut back to John. He walks down a slightly busy street. We see a sign that says Cherry Street, which is his address, and we realize he's heading home. As he approaches his apartment, he sees one of the Lost Angels standing out front. He's going to say, hell, under his breath. He's going to turn away and vanish into the crowd. We're going to cut to Christine sitting in a hotel room. We'll see that she's playing with her little moon sigil again. There's a loud knock at the door and she quickly hides it and stands. She opens the door and we see John. She's going to say, so, you decided to come after all. That didn't take long. John isn't playful. Christine, what the hell did you do? He says. Christine's going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. And John's going to say, there was a lost angel watching my place. Christine's going to say, what? Are you sure? To which John will say, how many guys do you know who walk around in red robes? He was an angel, I'm sure. Christine's going to curse, and then we'll see her pick up her rifle and look out the window. She doesn't see anything. They're not here. John says, not yet. They'll be coming. We've got to go. It won't take them long to find you. She's going to say, go where? John's going to say, train station. We need to get as far from here as possible. Christine's going to say, Tombstone. We'll go to Tombstone. John's going to say, fine. You shouldn't mess with these guys. They're bad news. You've kicked the hornet's nest. Christine's going to say, give me 5 minutes to pack her things. John will tell her to be quick. We'll cut to them in the streets as they hurry to the train station. Suddenly, we'll see John stop and let out like a moan of grief, and we'll pan around and see Nicholas hanging from a building. He's got a noose around his neck, and a bloody cross has been carved into his chest. Blood drips from his wounds onto the street. John snarls and pulls a knife from his sheath. Christine grabs his arm and says, no. John says, what? And she'll say, it's a trap. We'll see John stare at the corpse. I can't leave him up there. That man saved my life. Christine's going to say, I know, John. He's bait for you. It could be booby-trapped, or worse. They wouldn't have killed him if they were looking for me. They came for you. They know you wouldn't leave him up there. Why? John asks. Because of what you are. Because you draw the cards. If I heard stories of you all the way in Chicago, they must have heard them too. I've been careless, John says. He was a good man. Had a woman he was going to marry. He shouldn't die like this. What if she finds him like that? Gesturing to the corpse. Christine's going to say, John, I'm sorry, but we don't have time. We've got to get to the train station. They'll be looking for you. John's going to sigh and put away his knife. Then he'll turn to her and say, I'm going to kill the man who did that. We'll see Christine pull him away, and they start to hurry. We'll see them arrive at the train station. It's surprisingly empty. We can see it on their face that it concerns them. They approach the ticket desk and we hear a voice from behind them. It's the first guardian angel. He says, "You missed the train to Tombstone. It's left early, I'm afraid. They were warned of a devil. You are the gambler, are you not? I can see the evil in you." John says, "And if I am," then the guardian angel replies, "then our search for you is over." "What a surprise. You brought a new sinner for us as well. What manner of devil are you, harlot? I can feel the evil oozing off you too." Christine's going to say, "The sort who doesn't care for murderers like you." The guardian angel says, "I did not murder. I merely judge for the Lord. I am his sword, his warrior, his judge, and his hangman." John's going to say, "You killed a good man. Strung him up like he was just meat. You're going to die for that." And the first guardian angel is going to say, "All we are is meat. It's souls that carry weight and purpose. Your friend's soul was tainted black. He fraternized with the devil." John draws his pistol. The guardian angel touches his cross. We can see like a shard of wood is attached to the front of the cross, which he touches. When the light, we see the light shine forth, and John fires 3 shots. When the light fades, we see the bullets fall to the ground, as if they've hit an invisible shield. The guardian angel is gonna let his hands flow out like he's a cross and say, "God gives me protection from devils like you. Prepare to face the judgment of God, sinner." John's going to say, "Me and God aren't exactly on speaking terms. I'd rather he keeps his judgment to himself." We'll pan around and see that he's drawing a card behind his back. He pulls a 10 of spades. He smirks. He turns and tackles Christine. Before they hit the ground, they vanish. We cut to the inside of a train and see them appear and land on the floor. Christine kind of gets hit on the ground. She looks over at John and says, "You ass. You didn't have to tackle me like that." John says, "I know, but I think you deserved it." She rolls her eyes. "Where are we? Can't you tell? We're on the train to Tombstone." John stands up, then gives Christine his hand. She stands up too. She's a bit shaky on her feet. "The first jump is always hard. You'll be fine in a few minutes." Christine leans against him for support. "You shouldn't have drawn like that. It was too risky." John says, "Not much of a choice there, unless you had some miraculous thing up your sleeve. I don't think it's your night yet." She rolls her eyes. "What matters is we made it to the train. There's no way that asshole's going to catch us now." We're going to cut back to the train station. We'll see the guardian angel snarl and kick at the ground as the other guardian angel walks up behind him. "He was not at his apartment. I felt your call. They were here. It's 2 of them. They both reeked of evil." "Well, where are they?" the second guardian angel asks. "He used the cards to escape. I have no idea where he went." "Do you still have your bones?" the first asks. "I do." "Are you sure that will be necessary?" the second replies. And the first one says that the girl was with them. There's something dangerous about her. I think it's best we let the bloody ones handle this. The second angel is going to pull a femur bone from his robes. It's marked with mysterious runes. He carves the name John Weber into it with his knife and lets the bone fall to the ground. It turns to blood and is absorbed into the dirt. The second angel says, "Let God have mercy on their souls, if they still have them." We're going to cut back to the train. We'll see John and Christine are sitting in a train car. We see the ticket master come by. "Your tickets?" Christine says, "You know, I think I lost ours. Will this work?" She hands him money. I'll say like a $5 bill. I think that was a lot of money back at that time. I'm not actually looking at the conversion rates right in front of me. The ticket master is going to look at the money and say, "I suppose it will." And he's going to move on. They'll sit in silence for a moment before Christine sighs. "I lied. I'm going to California," she says. John replies, "I know." She says, "Come with me. Keep me and mine alive, and I'll pay you. Anything you want. I'll make you rich, John." John's gonna say, "It's not about the money." "Then what?" Christine asks. "Tell me why you left. I'll go with you. Just tell me the truth, and tell it straight. I just want to know what I did. I think I've earned that much." Christine's gonna look a little sad, then say, "You were great, John. I mean that. But when we were together, it started to occur to me how it was all going to end. I wasn't sure at first, but when you drew that joker, I knew I was right. You know what I am. One way or another, you were going to die, and it would have been my fault." John says, "Don't you think that's my choice? Shouldn't I get to choose when I die? Don't I get a say in that?" Christine says, "I wouldn't have survived you long, John. The guilt would have killed me. I wasn't going to stay with you just to mourn you. Honestly, I thought you'd be better off without me." John laughs. "You guessed wrong. You could have at least told me you were leaving. You were everything to me, the only family I had left. When you left, it damn near broke me." Christine says, "If I told you I was going to, I wouldn't have left." And John says, "Then maybe you shouldn't have." Christine's going to start to say something, but then can't think of anything. John's not going to give her the chance to think of anything. Here's the truth. I'm not here for you, Christine. You burned that bridge. Now I'm looking to burn some of my own. That grim bastard and his angels killed Nicholas. They're going to pay for that. I'll go with you, just to put a bullet in his head. Christine's going to nod and say, then I'll be glad to have you. We see the train come to a stop at a station. The conductor calls the station name. I don't know what it is. I'll put a city name on the screen. When I'm recording this, I haven't actually written down what city it was because I meant to do research. Bad writer moment right there. We see workers jumping off the train and a few guests leaving. We cut back to John and Christine in their cabin. Something's bothering me. That thing you did with the cross. I could do it with my cards. It was the same magic. Christine says, they said the devil was an angel once. I guess it's all the same. John says, if it is the same, then I know how to kill them. I suspect they don't have half the surprises I do. As he says it, the lights flicker in the train. We cut to the outside where we see workers working around. We see a bloody hand reach out of the ground. Soon 5 blood and gut-covered zombie-like creatures climb out from the dirt. One of the conductors spots them, but he's killed before he can say anything. They climb aboard the train, leaving behind bloody footprints everywhere they step. They release guttural moans, and through the moans we can hear the words, John Weber. All, spooky-like. They move into the car filled with people. The passengers scream and try to run. The bloody ones ignore them, or occasionally quickly kill one with their long claws. So, for those who don't know, bloody ones are a creature from Deadlands. They look like this. There it is. Very nice. And they are spooky supernatural monsters spawned by magic bones, just like I showed here. Spooky. John and Christine see all the people panicking and join them. As they join the crowd, the bloody ones see them and John pulls out his pistol. We see Christine bring her rifle from her bag. John says, what are the chances this has to do with us? Christine says, hi. John says, I agree. They move along with the crowd until they're able to leave the train. We see the train station lit by the sunset. It's an old wooden thing in the old town. We see one of the bloody ones make eye contact through a window of the train. It lets out a shriek and then runs towards the door. John and Christine try to run away, but the bloody ones start to catch up with them. They start yelling John Weber. Damn it all, I can't catch a break, John says. He turns and fires a shot at the monster. It blows right through the creature's body, but blood drips down and fills the hole. Oh, that's just not fair, John says. They keep running as the creatures grow closer. We see a sheriff and two deputies ride up on horses. They open fire on the bloody ones. John and Christine run past them. We see a bloody one attack and kill one of the deputies. I'll say it's pretty gruesome, blood and guts, the whole 9 yards. We'll go R-rated for this. The sheriff finishes one with a headshot and it dies. A second bloody one leaps off a wall, bounding forward and killing him by ripping out his neck. John says, you see that? It's the head. Christine fires her rifle and hits one of the bloody ones right in the head, killing it. John shoots at one as well, but it starts moving erratically and he misses twice before killing it. We see only 2 bloody ones remain. They both launch attacks on John. Christine shoots and kills one just before it snags John. The second one grows too close and she has to reload. He fires his pistol twice but misses once and hits the bloody one in the shoulder. He tries to fire again but realizes he's out of ammo. Christine is still reloading her rifle. It's too late. The bloody one slashes John across the shoulder. He winces, then rolls to avoid its next attack. In one fluid motion, he draws a card. We see it's the 5 of clubs. John throws it at the bloody one, and it explodes on contact with the monster. Blood and gore fly everywhere. We see the card flutter down and land in the center of the gore. John walks over and retrieves his card. He laughs, and Christine laughs with him. Just like old times, he says. Christine says, I don't remember fighting monsters in the old days. John says, I do. Christine cracks a smile. We see John study the pile of gore. He stands up holding the femur bone in his hand. All the runes have vanished, and all we can see is the name John Weber carved in the side. What is it? John says, my name is carved in the bone. These came from the angels. Are you sure about California? This is the kind of shit that's waiting for us. I'm sure. I must reclaim my family's legacy. It's everything to me, John. John nods his head, then looks down, realizing that he's completely covered in blood and gore. He says, I'm going to need a change of clothes. And that's where I'm ending episode 1. Alright, well that was the first episode. I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm just going to be enjoying myself sunbathing here in the Wild West. I just want y'all to know when I record these videos, I don't actually wear boots. I am barefoot right now with the whole horrible outfit on. So here's what I'm going to say. If we can get to 100 subscribers by the time I finish this series, we're going to do a big old foot reveal. I might even get an only feet. So yeah, there's some motivation for y'all. I know how much you want to see my big ogre feet on
on YouTube. So there you go. 100 subscribers before I finish the Deadlands series, and you'll get to see my feet. That gives me motivation to finish this thing quickly as possible, and y'all motivation to get me subscribers. So honestly, it's a lose-lose for me. No matter how this pans out, I'm losing. But y'all win, so either via feet or via me putting out content quicker. So thanks for watching, y'all, and remember to subscribe to see my feet. I'm very serious.
Thank you.